Well, as we all know, the news at Newcastle United just continues to pour in with players expected to come to Newcastle and, of course, the media storm kicking up about players who might leave the club in the summer. That is not going to stop, guys. It doesn't matter what we say as fans. The situation is that the media seem to think that we are going to get rid of at least one of our big names in the summer. Now, whether that be Bruno, Isak or Gordon, it seems to be one of those three now. Gordon has suddenly sprung from nowhere with this Liverpool malarkey. We as fans just have to take everything with a pinch of salt, okay? Because whatever happens, happens. But I'm pretty sure that Newcastle United don't want to lose any of them. Despite what they say about PSR, despite what they say about FFP, Newcastle United will hold their own counsel on this, and nobody knows what finances Newcastle United have moving into the summer. But nothing is ever going to change, and we just have to expect that within the next... I mean, it'll be a shitstorm for the next God knows how long. So we just have to expect that as fans, guys. But welcome to the Toon Review YouTube channel for today's news. My name's Paul. Once again, thank you very, very much for watching. We'll start off with a little bit about Michael Olise, of course, because rumours kicked about last week that Newcastle United were interested in the player. Of course, he had a brilliant game against Manchester United. That fueled all the release clause, etc. And the release clause was led to believe to be about 60 million quid. It is being reported this morning that it is not anywhere near that. Now, Olise did sign a new contract with Crystal Palace. It was allegedly around £35 million, his original release clause. But it is expected that that has gone up since he signed his new deal. But it isn't anywhere near around 60 million quid. So there is an opportunity here for Newcastle. Apparently the player himself is very aware that Newcastle United are interested. And that is because it has turned out that Newcastle United scouts have been watching Olise most of the season. So this isn't just something new that's cropped up just because he's had a couple of good performances for Palace. What we've heard now is that Newcastle United have scouted him on numerous occasions most of the season. So it's 100% a player that Newcastle want, but it is... You know, there's many factors come into this when you're talking about a player of Olise's standards. Many people have said that they prefer Eze. Quite frankly, either one would do me. But, you know, Olise seems to be the man who is linked with the Toon the most. But it all depends on... Obviously, we know that clubs like Manchester United are interested in them. I don't know what the scope is on Manchester United at the minute. I don't know what the appeal is to go to Manchester United. Let's be frank, they're in a bit of a mess. The stadium's fallen down. If you look at last night, I mean, Jesus Christ, they seriously need work on that stadium. We've seen Keir Starmer getting photos with Jim Ratcliffe now, and he has proposed tax money if he got in as Prime Minister. He has now said that he may give the money to Ratcliffe to improve the Wembley of the North. Bollocks, right? There will be a huge kick-off about that if that ever takes place. But anyway, I digress. Olise, certainly a player that I think every Newcastle United fan would love to see in a black and white shirt down that right-hand side. And I'm certainly one of them. I love the guy. I think he's really talented. As I say, either Eze or Olise for me could come in and do a fantastic job for Newcastle. But the 60 million release clause that was originally reported last week is a little bit too high, according to some media this morning. But anyway, talking about media bollocks, right? We get, again, reports of this stupid interest from Liverpool in Anthony Gordon. Now, I'm calling it a stupid interest because that's exactly what I feel like it is as a Newcastle United fan. You know, I've said for a while now on this channel that I think the media try and make up stories just to disrupt Newcastle United, just for fun. Now, it is apparently £100 million that Newcastle have valued Anthony Gordon at. I don't believe that. Not for a second do I believe that Newcastle United have valued Gordon at £100 million, because I think he's worth a hell of a lot more than that, quite honestly. We paid around £45 million for him, but if you look at the season he's had, this year has been immense. Right? So there's no way I think Newcastle value him way more than £100 million. And Liverpool don't even have a manager coming in yet. All right? So how can they decide if this new manager, unless they've spoke to him, of course, and got his ideas for players next season, who they might want to bring in? Because normally what I find is a new manager comes in, he will have his own agenda of players to sign. And I'd be Anthony Gordon left Everton a year ago. He's not going to go back to their bitter rivals. Not for 100 million quid. And Newcastle United, they keep mentioning in these reports that they will have to sell one of their big three, Isak, Bruno, or now Anthony Gordon, to adhere to PSR. And again, how do these people know? Nobody knows what Newcastle United have behind the scenes, what income they've got, and what they can do in the summer as per bringing players in and letting players go. We know there's going to be players leaving in the summer. All right, there's no doubt about that. There's players' contracts ending. There's players who we know just are not good enough anymore for Newcastle United. And the likelihood is that they will be leaving. We can't keep saying, they've been great for the club in the past, so they'll get a contract extension. We need to be ruthless now with these players. Very, very ruthless. And I think there will be in the summer. I think there'll be players leaving, and I think there'll be players coming in. Who these players are, God only knows, but you know what? I'm excited about who we could bring in the summer. But all this talk, one report even goes on to say, and this is a Northeast newspaper, by the way, guys, or online report, but Arsenal would have their hopes of signing Alexander Isak quashed if Newcastle decide to sell Anthony Gordon to Liverpool. Jesus wept. Look, Eddie Howe has come out numerous times and said that he wants to build a team around the likes of Bruno and Isak, all right? He didn't, it's obvious that Anthony Gordon is massively in his plans. This kid has excelled under Eddie Howe. Look at how he spoke about the manager on the overlap interview he did with Gary Neville. It was fantastic. So what in these media, in their right minds, think that Newcastle United will sell? Look, the bottom line is they might sell one of their big stars, right? I'm not denying that they won't. I'm not sitting here saying, nah, not a chance. I think out of the three of them to go, it would probably be Bruno. And I hate saying that, but if you look at those three players, who would be more likely to move in the summer? For me, it would be Bruno because of the release clause. But that's not me sitting here saying, I think Bruno will be leaving. Absolutely not. I think they'll all be here next season. And we can look back next season on these reports and think, what a load of crap. And at the bottom of the report, it says Newcastle are in no mood to sell Anthony Gordon. So why put all that bollocks in a report? It frustrates us fans because we know the media just like to stir up reports to try and get us to bite, which I know I'm doing, but I have to bring it to you. I have to bring it to you, the viewers, to get your input on things. I like to talk about these things, as you know. I don't do this for clickbait. I do it because I like to have a conversation with you guys out there as to what your thoughts are on these. Because I think enough is enough. We've seen so many Arsenal fans posting on social media with Isak in an Arsenal strip and all this kind of stuff. It just seems to me like they think, they'll go to Newcastle for a couple of years and then they'll leave Newcastle because there's bigger and better things. Not anymore. That's long gone since Ashley went. We are not a selling club anymore. We are aiming high, and as Amanda Staveley put not long ago, she wants to win everything. And you can bet your bottom dollar that the chairman does as well. So stick that in your pipe. Now, speaking of the chairman, it has been reported that after Saturday's game, Yasser Al-Rumayyan met with Alexander Isak. Now, they didn't say what the conversation was or what it was all about. We know that they had an interaction on the pitch, and the chairman met Isak's family, but it has been reported that they spoke further away from public eye. Now, you put two and two together and you think this has got to be a new contract, right? He's getting a feel for what Alexander Isak wants, and maybe Isak's getting a feel about what the chairman could offer him. Because, look, there's no doubt that Newcastle United are keen to get a contract extension signed from Isak. We all thought that maybe last week, that when he was doing that advert in the helmet and stuff like that, that was going to be a range of sponsors coming in, plus the fact that Isak had signed a new contract. It wasn't to be. But, listen, if this is true and he has had conversations with the chairman, that is a good positive start. because I have no doubt that Eddie Howe and the hierarchy at Newcastle United will be very aware of all these stupid reports of our players leaving the club, especially Isak linked with Arsenal constantly. So they will be doing something about it. They will have spoken to Isak. But it was very interesting to hear that maybe the chairman has had a personal word with him about what Isak wants himself and what the future holds for him at this football club. I have no doubt that he will sign a new contract. I think he loves it here, and he can go on to bigger and better things. That may be my Newcastle United blood talking there, rather than being maybe me head thinking, oh, well, maybe Isak could go and win things at Arsenal. But then, on the flip side of that, he can win things at Newcastle. Screw the media. But hopefully, he did speak to the chairman, and talks have already started. But that is very much just a report, guys. It's nothing confirmed factually from the club. However, one thing that has been confirmed by Newcastle United is the young defender Alex Murphy. He has signed a new long-term contract at Newcastle United. The report I read didn't say how long it was. It just said it was a new long-term deal. Eddie Howe has said that he's gone from strength to strength this season. It all started in America in the pre-season. He really stood out for Eddie Howe in the pre-season, and it looks like he's been rewarded now with that long-term contract. It's highly expected that Alex Murphy will take a lot further part in the first team squad next season because he's at that level. Now, we saw him in pre-season a lot when we did the matchday lives for pre-season. The games before they went to America, certainly he played at Ibrox, of course, he played at Gateshead, but he stood out further since then. He's been around the first team a lot this season due to probably injuries. He has been on the bench a lot. He's made a couple of appearances, but this kid is a real talent, and I think it's really good that we can now pin these down to long-term deals. And the fact that somebody as good as Alex Murphy wants to stay at Newcastle United as well. We've seen in the past academy players disappearing to Liverpool, etc., because there wasn't really anything to look forward to at Newcastle. But there is now. There is now a massive hope, and the academy is something I'm sure that will dramatically improve in the next couple of seasons. So delighted for Alex Murphy, delighted for Newcastle that we've managed to get him. But there is the news for today, guys. As usual, let me know in the comments down below what you think of all the news that I've gone through this morning. Are you fed up with the media? Are you just fed up with them completely now? Because, they're trying to unsettle players without a shadow of a doubt. But when you look at it logically, you think, why would Newcastle sell Gordon? They're under no scrutiny to sell Gordon at all. It's mental. And then you keep getting this Isak one, and then Bruno, PSG. Oh, PSG, you're doing this. PSG, you're doing that. I just wish the transfer window now would open. We sign our players, and then it closes. And then we get on with the next season. But obviously football doesn't work like that. But let me know what you think. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you have enjoyed the video, as usual, give it the thumbs up for us. Very important that we keep the likes coming in on the channel. And of course, if you are new and you like what you see with the Toon review, lots of Newcastle United content on here, videos and live shows, but football in general as well. We talk a lot about other football stories. And of course, don't forget to hit the notification bell, which will let you know when we upload any videos such as this, or we schedule in our live shows. But listen, have a cracking day, guys. We are back. If you're watching this on Monday, we're back at 7 o'clock with basically a news magazine show again, where we just chat about all the breaking stories at Newcastle United, because you're guaranteed that after I finish this video later on this afternoon, more news will break. So we'll talk about all of that at 7 o'clock on the live show. But until then, take care.